Lamar Jackson is lighter than he's been in the last 2 years. It's visibly noticeable, but let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, in this video today, I'm going to be talking about Lamar Jackson's, I'll say, playing weight. Now, I want to say that this is a decision from Lamar Jackson. This isn't an Eddie Lacy situation. This isn't a Calvin Benjamin situation where a player is out of control with their weight and they're unable to stay at the right weight, where those guys were massively overweight and their careers fell off because of it. This was a strategic decision by Lamar Jackson, and I'm sure coaching staff was also, brought into the equation, health officials as well. So don't take anything I say as me criticizing Lamar Jackson or saying he needs to get bigger. I'm just going to be talking about the pros and cons of him slimming down and how it can possibly affect his play style and potentially the Ravens. So first off, just to give you a little bit of a timeline, I'm getting this from the Ravens website. I wanted to talk about this anyway, and then of course today the Ravens website posted an article on it, and I'm like, great, now I'm going to sound like I'm copying, but I was going to post this video anyway. But Lamar Jackson mentioned that in 2022, he was 230 pounds. He was 215 pounds last year, and he's 205 pounds approximately this year. So over the last couple of years, he's lost 25 pounds. And the biggest reason for this, which is, I think, different than what a lot of people would initially anticipate, right? I know when he first had those pictures of him walking into the Ravens building this offseason, people were like, oh man, this dude got caught from behind in the AFC Championship game and said never again. I don't think that was necessarily the reasoning for him slimming down. What he mentioned was the weight on his joints. All right, because the more weight that you have in your body, obviously, when you plant or when you make a move, your joints are going to feel even more of that. And so putting more stress on them can lead to more joint-related injuries and tenderness and soreness. And so it was, in his opinion, and again, I'm sure the opinion of doctors and specialists that he was working with, that, hey, it might be better for him if he decides to slim down in order to reduce the stress on his joints. Because I'll say this, when we watch Lamar Jackson, I would say of all mobile quarterbacks, all quarterbacks that run in the history of the NFL, I think he takes the least amount of hits. I don't know how, because he doesn't know how to slide, right? Like Russell Wilson can slide. Kyler Murray can slide. Lamar Jackson's not a baseball player. He doesn't slide. What he does is he does this fall thing, which works really well, where he just kind of curls up into borderline fetal position and just falls on the ground, and he's down by contact just immediately. So he's able to avoid those big hits. And when people talk about Lamar Jackson's weight and the reason why he put on weight in the first place, remember back in 2022 and even last year, he looked big last year as well. It was all about protecting his body and trying to not get injured. But I think Lamar Jackson this year when I say this year, I mean last playing season, he felt like, hey, I'm feeling the stress on my body from this weight. And if he's feeling that every game, which you can do, if you're overweight at all and you try and run, Exhibit A, I'm definitely overweight, but you can tell, even if it's 5 pounds difference, you're like, oh, I feel it. And now imagine, I'm not an elite NFL caliber athlete anymore. Prime Makana, legit. Not really. Maybe. I don't know. But when you're an NFL caliber athlete and you're making intense cuts, intense pivots, he's planting his foot every time he goes to throw. He's planting his foot every time he snaps the ball under center. You're feeling that every single time. This isn't a light jog in the park. It is competitive NFL football. He's going to be feeling that weight every single time. And so for him, even though he's had injuries in the past, none of it was Lamar Jackson took a crushing hit and, it took out his shoulder. I don't have any. Let's knock on wood. Knocking on wood on that one. But it's been ticky-tacky, right? He had the ankle injury, getting tripped from behind by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah on the Browns. That limited him in 2020, the 2022-2023 season. That's what limited him. He's been sick. That's made him miss some games. It's never been anything massive, right? It hasn't been any huge injuries that were like, oh no, he's done, right? Like, instead, it's just been like, oh man, it's ticky-tacky. And honestly, maybe a little bit of joint stuff, right? And tendon stuff. Again, I'm not necessarily a doctor, but for his reasoning of, hey, I did it to reduce the stress on my joints and muscles as I'm trying to run, that makes sense to me. Also, I think it will make him a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and get back to more of what, rookie year, 2019 year Lamar Jackson was in terms of maneuverability and athleticism. Because I think we all recognize that, yes, he's still fantastic. He's still the most elusive player in the NFL. He's still the most difficult quarterback to bring down. But the top end speed wasn't necessarily there last year and the year before that. And maybe that was due to him gaining 25 pounds, because it wasn't necessarily him gaining 25 pounds of, muscle so he could throw the ball farther, or run faster, because to get faster, you do have to build muscle. It was more him gaining weight to be more sturdy in the pocket, to absorb those hits better. So it's certainly a pros and cons situation. It's not something that I'm sure he took lightly. He probably had a lot of people talking with him and making that decision about what his playing weight was going to be. But I'm really excited to see him. I think he looks really good in terms of, his weight and his lankiness, because part of what makes Lamar Jackson so unique is his frame, right? You look at Lamar Jackson, you put him in a line with every other quarterback in the NFL, and they're like, pick the one guy that stands out. It's probably Lamar Jackson, because he's very lean. He looks relatively skinny compared to other guys, right? You look at the other elite quarterbacks in the NFL, right? You got Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. They're all a lot bigger than he is, not in terms of stature or height, but just in terms of, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say girth. But that's part of the Lamar Jackson allure, right? That's what brings you in. That's what makes you watch him. I remember rookie year, we were comparing Lamar to a figure skater, the way that he moves around on the football field. It's incredibly unique. It's very different from anybody else that you see in the NFL, probably ever. And I think Lamar Jackson wants to get back to that. And we know he can throw the football, right? Like last year, he had by far his best passing year, even though he didn't necessarily have the touchdowns to interceptions ratio that he did in 2019. He threw for like 650 more yards than he did that season. And it was in a season where you felt like, wow, this Ravens passing offense is looking really good. And now Zay's another year into his career. Obviously, Mark Andrews is back. Remember, we missed Mark Andrews for a lot of last season. We brought in Tez Walker. Finally, we have a true deep threat in Tez Walker. We have Derrick Henry to kind of shoulder the load, right? Because when Lamar Jackson got bigger, it seemed like the Ravens started running him up the middle a little bit more. But now we have Derrick Henry. We don't need to run QB power ever again, right? Lamar Jackson should not be running into linebackers, should not be running into defensive linemen, because we got 22 in the backfield. That's another aspect that I think helps this decision for Lamar. Let me know in the comment section down below your guys' thoughts on it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more Daily Ravens content. Don't worry, I'm going to have more stuff on the back wall at some point soon. I was waiting for my rug to arrive. I just got my new desk. It's a convertible standing desk, so you may see me standing in some videos, depending, because my chair is really squeaky. But But I got my rug, so once I have my rug, I'll be able to put everything up on the wall. Don't know exactly what it'll be. I'll probably get my Stanford football back there and whatnot. But let me know, guys. Lamar Jackson's weight. Also, if you have any thoughts of like what I should put back here, you know, I'll definitely take any advice. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you again tomorrow.